Hello, everybody, and welcome to my review of Batman number 59, a retro review, a issue that was from back in June of 1950. And if you wonder why I'm doing this issue, it's not just or even because you end up having a pretty cool Batman and Robin spaceship on the cover with them flying around. That's not the case. Why I'm doing this is because it is the first appearance of Deadshot. And this is what most people think of as Deadshot nowadays, but he didn't look quite like this. When he first showed up, he looked a little fancier. There he is. There's Deadshot. He ends up having a tux, a bow tie, a top hat. He's got his 6-shooters ablazing. So yeah, this is Batman number 59. And it's a crazy issue. It's written by David Vern Reed, pencils by Lou Sayer Schwartz and Bob Kane, inks by Charles Paris, and letters by Ira Schnapp. And as we go in, we see right away with the first page that this is basically Deadshot wanting to replace Batman. In fact, it's called The Man Who Replaced Batman, because Batman has to learn a lesson. And this is a cautionary tale for everybody out there. If you end up being a vigilante crime fighter in Gotham City, there's possibility. I mean, this is America. We can be anything if we put our minds to it. You end up, don't go on vacation. Please don't. It's like what used to happen with Jay Leno. Jay Leno would refuse to take vacations because he was afraid that if he took a vacation, somebody would end up replacing him. Batman and Robin go off on their vacation, and they even leave with unfinished business. So this kind of seems like nonsense, where you end up having Robin, oh man, vacation. He even says, vacation at last, even if it is only a short one. And then Batman's like, hey, remember, we have unfinished business. Trigger Rhodes and the Detroit Kid are still at large, but hey, let's go on a cruise. Well, while this is happening, you end up meeting Floyd Lawton, millionaire, and also Deadshot, because he's been practicing all of his gun shooting techniques, and he pretty much is like an old, Wild West traveling guy. He's doing trick shots even in his house, where he has his butler, Stevens, who I don't know why you'd allow this, but Stevens, the butler, ended up smoking a cigarette and then just throwing it on the ground without stamping it out. I don't even know why a butler should be throwing it on the ground, but you end up where a lit cigarette's on the ground. Well, Deadshot's got to stop that. So he gets a mirror out, looks over his shoulder, puts the gun there and shoots the cigarette from behind him. Some crazy deal where then you have Stevens, the butler, say, boy, it's so great that we have this indoor private shooting range. And it looks like the shooting range is in just a room with 2 targets. It's not that fancy. There you go. It even looks like there's a possibility that he's cross-armed shooting these targets. Of course, he always hits a bullseye. Well, he ends up being obviously an aficionado of guns. He's got tons hanging on the wall. I don't know if that's the proper way to store guns, but hey, 1950 and he is a millionaire. He can do what he wants. He's eccentric. He ends up hearing on the radio a call that there is a burglary downtown. So he figures, all right, this is the time for Floyd Lawton to stop yakking and let's get to Deadshot, because I'm dressed up now in my tuxedo. Let's go. I'm going to replace Batman. And he goes down, and this is the thing. Deadshot will not kill anybody. He won't kill anybody in this issue. He'll try to kill somebody named Batman. But when he is here to replace Batman, he's not going to kill criminals. He goes and uses his trick shot ability. He ends up hitting things down from a lamppost, the lamp holder, and ends up getting a scaffolding that he ends up shooting down to get the other guy. They were jewel robbers. And so he has taken care of these robbers with trick shots. The police, they seem, a little iffy about this, but they want to know what his game is. And he says, my game is to be better and then successor to Batman. I'm taking over Batman's job. That's my game, pal. And so he ends up going to Commissioner Gordon and say, listen, I'm a guy who loves his guns. I do trick shots. I want to replace Batman. I have all permits for the guns. Everything's legal. You have Commissioner Gordon at this point still on the Batman tip, still saying like, well, Batman doesn't use guns. I don't know what that has to do with anybody else. I mean, the police do. What is he firing all of them? But I don't know about that. And you end up having Deadshot. Well, I don't shoot to kill. I do crazy trick shots. And look at me, I'm spinning my gun on my finger now. And see how impressive that is, Commissioner? So Commissioner is sitting there, let me smoke my pipe and think about this. Well, if you're so good, why didn't you just try to become a policeman? Well, I think that it's mainly because he likes to wear a tux and a top hat. Policemen, they're not allowed to wear a tux and a top hat. But also he says, well, I have an old war injury, shattered my leg. I end up having the steel plates here. I'd never pass the physical. So Gordon's like, well, I suppose, I couldn't really stop you from doing that. No, you can. There's a guy going around shooting guns in downtown Gotham, and you're saying you can't stop him? Well, there he goes. That's what happens. Commissioner Gordon is one of those guys. He doesn't like to really do a lot of work. This is why he's allowed a vigilante to go and do all this time. We realize he's just a guy who likes to sit and smoke his pipe and think. It's Gordon thinking time most of the time. Well, you end up having Deadshot go off then and stopping crimes with trick shots, stopping crimes without shooting people, but by doing certain things like shooting a guy's hat off. And really, I know for a fact, somebody shoots my hat off, I freeze. I can't do anything else. Also, you end up having what looks like a Brinks truck has been hijacked. And because that is a truck, it's bulletproof. He ends up shooting a high-tension wire to stop that. Though I do think that while this is happening, there is a good possibility that that truck's going off a cliff. But that's gravity that would kill him, not Deadshot. And there you see the big Deadshot there. He looks pretty cool, right? So all this is going on while Batman and Robin are on vacation. Well, they come back from vacation. I'm sure that when they came in, Robin said something stupid like, I need a vacation from our vacation. One of those lame things. Batman probably slapped them again. We didn't see that, though. But they hear over the radio, oh my, there's an armed robbery. So, Batman kind of says, well, let's wait for the bat signal to appear because, I like to make my opinion. What? What's going on? There's a bullseye signal out there. Robin freaks out. They don't know what this means. So they go to where this robbery is and find out there is a new crime solver vigilante in town by the name of Deadshot. Commissioner Gordon's all with him. Hey, look at Deadshot. He's your new partner, to fight crime, Batman. You're going to have to deal with it. This is where Batman is freaking out. He is jealous immediately. He doesn't want anybody around. A lot of times with these things later on, they'll push the idea that Batman is worried that, this partner per se will figure out his identity. Now, he's just jealous. He has no reason at this point to even be wary of Deadshot. He knows nothing about him. He don't like him because then he says, well, Commissioner, I'll let you tell me whatever, I'll follow the rules here, but I'm going to go off and get the Detroit Kid and Trigger Rhodes, those bad guys that were on the lam that I just kind of ignored while we went on vacation. Here's where the nail in the coffin is. Oh, no need. Deadshot already brought them in. Oh, no. Batman is on the verge of being replaced. He's freaking out. So they go back to the mansion and Batman's like, I don't trust this Deadshot, this jerk. Something's up with him. Robin says, yeah, I think so too. But really, there's no evidence to that. We're really jumping to conclusions. But hey, I don't like him either because this is a bunch of crap. So you end up where he goes to Commissioner Gordon and says, hey, I think there's something up with this Deadshot. I don't really trust him. I don't think you should. Commissioner Gordon's like, no, I don't agree with you. He's pretty good. He has gotten all these criminals, 2 guys that you couldn't even get, and then went on vacation. So he got them. I think his record speaks for itself. And boy, you seem real anxious to discredit Deadshot. I think you might be afraid of the competition. Now, Batman thinks in his mind, you know what? He might be right. I might be a jerk. He says prima donna. We know what he means. But yeah, he's starting to worry. He's starting to worry that maybe he is a little too jealous. Well, you end up where they're going out on these, crime deals. They're ending up stopping all this crime together. You end up having the dual signals up in the sky there. And it's not like you're getting any chemistry between these two. They are doing things separately, but together. Type deal. You have Deadshot doing his trick shots. You have Batman just punching the crap out of people and Robin chasing guys on rooftops. But this is where Batman gets a break. He's trying to figure out if Deadshot's on the up and up, but he's got to figure out who Deadshot is. So if you're a football fan, you might get this. Deadshot ends up pulling a Plexico Burress and shoots out his pocket. I don't know why he has his gun in his pocket. He had those cool holsters there, but he ends up shooting out his pocket, and a piece of fabric does come off that Batman is able to grab, and now he's going to go to all the tailors around town to see if anybody recognizes this sort of fabric and who has a suit made of it. Maybe we can figure out who it is. Well, eventually he does. He figures out it is millionaire Floyd Lawton. So when they end up figuring that out, they know where he lives, they go to peek in, see what old Floyd's up to. Well, Floyd, of course, as he always is, he's doing some target practice, though the target looks like it's 3 feet away. He's doing close quarters target practice, where he ends up saying, boy, the plan's going well there, Stevens. Nobody trusts Batman now. And you have Commissioner Gordon. He just thinks he's jealous of me, so he keeps yelling at him. It is awesome. And then Stevens, unlike most of the time where you have the villain doing the evil monologue, Stevens then lets the cat out of the bag, and he's like, yeah, that's awesome, sir. Like, now you're going to take the place of Batman. Then you'll be the greatest crime lord. That's it. That's the plan. It's one to the other. This is like me saying, like, man, I'm going to go get a job at McDonald's, and then I'm going to run Amazon. Whatever. You end up with it just being like, uh-oh, I heard crime lord. Let's go. And so they have to figure out a way to show that Deadshot isn't on the up and up. In the meantime, the next time the two meet, Batman pretty much says, hey, nice shooting, Floyd. And you end up having Deadshot says, well, what do I care? You know my name? Hey, you know who I am? I don't care. Commissioner hates your guts. He thinks you're a jealous jerk, and he's not going to listen to you. And Batman's like, you're not going to get away with it. Well, now Deadshot is going to monologue about his whole plan as he shoots Skull and Crossbones into the National Opera's wall, his signature. And he says basically to Batman, I'm a marksman. I am the greatest shot in all the world. And you don't understand, when you become part of the greatest shot in the world union, that one of the stipulations, there's two. You get a hoagie every Friday, and also you're allowed one time to accidentally kill somebody. I'm going to use that for you. I'm going to kill you, Batman. And then nobody's going to believe that it wasn't by accident. And I'm going to be scot-free. And then you're out of the picture. Well, you end up having them freak out as Floyd runs off to use the telephone. Well, Batman and Robin still are like, we got to figure out something before it's too late. He's going to kill me. And they go and, eavesdrop in using the classic glass to listen in to what Deadshot says is the big plan for the next day. Now, Deadshot has done nothing really bad up until this point, except maybe shoot out his pocket. But now he's going to go full out, where he says, I'm going to cause a distraction. He's talking to his butler. And he says, I'm going to cause a distraction with Gordon, the police, with Batman. And while that's going on, I'm going to get them to come away with me. While that's going on, you tell Johnson to knock off the central bank, 4:00 tomorrow afternoon. It'll be awesome. Batman and Robin are so happy. Look at that smile on Batman's face. Like, that's the break. We can expose him. He ends up going to Gordon and saying, listen, Floyd is going to tell her, or Deadshot, because Commissioner Gordon doesn't know it's Floyd, but Deadshot is going to tell us to go with him somewhere around 4 tomorrow, but we're not gonna, because he has another one of his guys who's going to rob the bank. He's going to rob the central bank. So when he does say to go with him, you tell him no. And boy, it's going to foil his plan good. So you end up having that happen. And when Floyd goes away to supposedly take in Fingers Blake, that was the ruse, they think. Batman's like, man, he was sweating. He wanted to go with us, all that stuff, but we didn't go. And now why isn't anybody robbing the bank? Because nobody is. Then you have this really cool looking motorcycle policeman come in and say, hey, Deadshot just brought in Fingers Blake. And now Commissioner Gordon is so angry. He's like, you ended up making me leave my desk. I could not end up smoking my pipe for this point in time. And I sat here looking at a bank for 10 minutes. How dare you, Batman? You are ridiculous. And again, it really didn't do much. It didn't really do much to ruin anything with Gordon. It's just him. You do have one police officer with him. But yeah, Everything is just to discredit Batman, and Floyd thinks it's hilarious. He's twirling his gun around again and basically says, yeah, Commissioner Gordon hates you. You're discredited. I'm going to kill you. You're not going to be able to stop me. Robin is upset. He's like, he's going to get away with it, and then you're going to be dead, and I won't have a Batman. What am I going to do? Well, Batman has a way in his mind of how to stop this, because the next time they end up getting called, a few nights later, you end up with both signals in the sky. You end up having Batman say, listen, Robin, you stay here. I'm going to go and deal with Deadshot, where it's obvious this is going to be where he will end up trying to kill Batman. And that's pretty much what's happening. He says, I'm going to accidentally kill you now. Batman, he gets some balls and says, yeah, well, just shoot me. I mean, really, he's like, I have to deal with all of this stuff. I'm a vigilante. I got to deal with that Robin. He's always yelling, holy this and holy that. Alfred with his nonsense sandwiches, things like that going on, even though, that's not really the case. But he ends up having him say, just shoot me. And so you end up having Deadshot. All right, he shoots, he misses. And that's something that he can't take, something he doesn't do. So when he misses, he freaks out. He ends up shaking. He's all upset. You end up where Batman's like, yep, that's it. I'm going to arrest you now, even though there's really no evidence of what happened. It's just Batman's word. But Batman's word's Batman's word. He ends up grabbing the gun from Floyd and say, we're going to go. You're going to confess. So there you have it. And they go to see Commissioner Gordon. I really want Batman to say, like, I told you he was a jerk. He's such a brat, Batman. He's so upset. He comes off in this whole issue as somebody like an older brother that now has a baby brother and is so jealous. So he comes in and is like, look, he's no good to you now. Look at him. He's a nervous wreck. And Gordon's like, he is. Oh, my. What made him a nervous wreck? Batman says, well, I figured the only way I could stop him is psychologically. And ruining his confidence in his guns. Now, really, he Bill Belichick this whole deal. He broke in to Floyd's mansion and changed all the sights on all his guns, probably including the ones that are hanging on the wall. So he's like, that's all I did. I cheated, and it worked. So, hey, I'm the winner. And so you end up having Gordon's like, oh, my, I really went so far over to the Deadshot side of things. I mean, I really look like a jerk now. And there's Batman. I mean, he's kind of, my man. And now I kind of dissed him. So I better make a big spectacle of this. So he gets a crowbar and destroys the Bullseye signal. Again, that had to cost some money. You don't have to destroy it. Just take the Bullseye off it, because the next time you flip-flop, when is Deathstroke coming into town to be the next guy? So you end up having him destroy the signal. And that's the end, where he says, don't worry, Commissioner. He played us both against each other. Oh, my, just shatter that thing. Keep shattering it. You're making me so happy. And that's the end. And it's a good issue. It is a good issue for all that. But you get a crazy deal where Floyd then goes off to jail. And, later on, unfortunately, when he joins the Suicide Squad, he's not wearing his tux, which I wish he was. But yeah, that's the end of the issue. It's pretty cool. Like I said, didn't involve any spaceships, but still a fun issue. Hilarious that Batman just can't take the competition. But if I was going to rate this, it's tough to rate these retro deals because they are classic. It's back in the day deal. But I'd still give it like an 8.5. It is pretty fun to do that. And the art's pretty good and all that stuff for back in the day. But thank you for listening and watching this video review. I hope you enjoyed this little retro one, kind of take a little break from the current stuff. I know a lot of people are going and reading a lot of things in the DC Universe app because they're not really liking everything that's hitting from DC nowadays, waiting for this big change. We don't even know what that is, all that stuff. But this issue is actually in the DC Universe app. So if you want to read it yourself, you can go and do that as well. But thanks, everybody. It'd be great if you would subscribe to the channel, like this video. Also, look in the description where you'll find all sorts of links to everything that we do with our podcasts and websites, both DC and Marvel. But thanks for listening and watching, and I'll talk to you later.